freaking first cut. Golly.
Welcome to the First Cut Podcast. I'm Rick Gehman, and this is your mailbag episode. Your questions, comments, and concerns answered, or at least attempted to be answered. Joining me to do just that, Patrick McDonald is here. Patrick, hello. Happy September 7th.
Of course, yeah. Big day on the calendar. Top 365 in my book. Great Thursday for me as well. I got a couch today, which I think producer Josh likes because it's not echoing as much back here. And yeah, gentlemen, great to be with you.
Wow. Now, where did you buy this? What was the couch purchasing process like? Was this an online purchase? Did you go and put your butt on a bunch of different couches and see?
Yeah, you put your butt down and then you go online. You kind of search comps. And then they came, dropped it off this morning. The couch guy said my shirt that I was wearing, quote, goes hard. So that really just set me up for success today. That was a huge boost.
Is it the shirt you're wearing right now?
No. It was, I have this, there's this Australian NBA artist, Adam Bollinger.
I love him.
Yeah. And so I had his Doug White Man Can't Jump t-shirt on. And the guy really liked it. I gave him the website.
Kyle Porter is here. KP, he got a compliment on a shirt that goes hard, yet he changed his shirt. I would never change my shirt after that.
Yeah, no, I don't think I would either. My spades playing went pretty hard today. Played some spades against the kids. That's one of the things.
Is spades a game of skill or luck?
It's both. I mean, is poker a game of skill or luck?
Well, I would say skill. Now, in the short term, entirely luck. In the long term, entirely skill.
Yeah, I think spades is different because it's skill in that it's a little like the Ryder Cup. It's team play. So you have. Do you not play spades?
I've never played spades. No,
Patrick.
Maybe some variation of it.
Some variation of it, like hearts.
Yeah, they're like the same, right? One's you want the most, one you want the least, kind of.
Yeah, they're in the same like ballpark, I would say.
Okay,
but
yeah,
taught the kids how to play spades. They're kind of like Victor Hovland circa like 2019 to 2021, where they just either try to get all the tricks or none of them. And you're like, I don't think you understand like having restraint, like having discipline. Like it's like Hovland pulling at every pin at Kiowa. And you're like,
he's like, what's the problem?
I don't know. I don't think this is going to work. So they're maniacal about it, but yeah, it's good time. Well, we had this question though. This was in the newsletter. Did you see this, Rick?
Which question?
If you had to play a game with your life on the line and you were randomly pitted against another, however old you are, like the same age, English-speaking male,
okay,
for both of you guys, what game would you pre-pick? So you don't know who you're drawing. You might draw Bryce Harper. You might draw an accountant.
So something that I think that I am significantly better than a similar peered counterpart would be.
Yeah, or maybe they just don't know, like they don't know the game. But yes, essentially, like you're significant, like you have confidence that you're in the 99.9 percentile of this game. It could be any game. It could be
like game / sport, like because you said Bryce Harper was
yeah.
Like I would obviously not choose like slam dunk contest.
No, that'd be bad for you.
Yeah.
But you probably also wouldn't there's probably only like a 3 percentile or like you have to be in like the 96th percentile to even dunk.
There's a chance that neither the most likely outcome is neither of us dunk.
Yeah, all square. Yeah.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
What was yours, Kyle?
Papa shot.
Wow.
That one?
Either Papa shot or bananagrams, which is like a variation on Scrabble.
See, I didn't even
Okay.
think about.
Interesting. I was thinking like
neither.
board games.
I'm not
Or
losing
dice.
either one of those to another 38-year-old English-speaking male or female, but
What would Nick Taylor pick?
Mario Kart.
Right.
Golf.
or golf. He probably has a couple of options. Putt, yeah, he could do a lot of different.
He should pick golf, but then he might pull Rory, and it's like, well, sorry, Nick Taylor.
Kind of leaning golf, but that's kind of a boring answer. I'm sneaky maniacal 1v1 basketball.
Okay.
I've got a little Manu in me.
Euro stuff.
There is a
I can't wait for this.
it's not that exciting. It's a relatively new arcade game. It's a Nerf shooting game that I currently hold the high score at this arcade over here. Now I'm pretty sure only like 8-year-olds play it. So when I came in, I dominated.
But that's like what you want, right? If no other mid-30s humans play it, then you're good.
And it is a little like once you figure it out, because the way the targets come in and out, the higher values float through. And once you learn how to, like, it's not, once you solve it, like, it's pretty good. But if we just sat down, random person, I think I'd wreck them.
Well, so I should say, like, the person that you're facing has one day to prepare for this event.
Oh, I might have lost my edge and Nerf shoot them up or whatever.
But one day you would still have an advantage. It might just not be as like golf would be great because it would take somebody 3 years to get. That's what you should pick, Patrick.
Yeah, you're just hoping you don't draw somebody who's already better than you.
Yeah,
Scheffler. You might.
Oh yeah, that's kind of a risk you got to take.
Sure.
I'm gonna think of this is gonna consume a lot of my energy over the course of the next couple of days.
Well, one of my friends was like, if he picked golf, and he was like, if I do draw Spieth, like, it's a great way to go.
Yeah. Spieth took my life. Wait, is that the penalty? I'm dead now.
Yeah. What is your
life is on the line? Yeah.
Oh gosh, that would be the most insane 18.
Well, it brings some like, I don't want to pick something where I could like choke,
Right.
So you want to take some of the, I don't know, it's hard, it's a difficult proposition. Producer Josh, do you have one?
I've been sitting here racking my brain. Video games comes to mind.
You got to be more specific.
Probably like Call of Duty. That comes
like
to
one-on-one.
mind. Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe. I'm not sure I'm ready to say that one on the podcast. Never mind.
Come on.
Let's
do
get
it.
to know
Let's
Josh.
Josh
after
peel
dark.
a layer of Josh away.
I think I could beat any other 25-year-old man on the planet in Disney Channel sing-along.
Disney Channel sing-along.
Like original movies, like the ones that would come out on Disney Channel.
Are they still doing original movies? Or are they the ones that I'm thinking of? Like what would you say, Patrick? Brink?
Brink, the rollerblading one. Yeah.
Are they still doing new ones, or are those the ones you're referring to?
So that would be the caveat. I'd have to be able to pick the time span, because any of the ones that came out in the last 10 years, I'd be no good. Right. But the ones in my prime, I still know a lot of those words.
Hey, Producer Josh, can you cut that clip from Producer Josh for us to use later?
Yeah, can you blackmail?
I'll be sure to do that.
Josh, are you a karaoke fiend?
I am not. No, I don't. You won't catch me at a karaoke bar. But
okay.
That's a good one though, because the Venn diagram that you want is I'm great at it and nobody else does it or knows about it or has any skill.
Right.
So that's like. That's the perfect.
Yeah, mine would be like using Microsoft Excel Power Query to scrape that from baseballreference.com. Like that. Like, bring it. You're
good luck.
Meet your
Rick would
maker.
pull some data, some like computer scientist that just
I know. Could you imagine?
smokes.
Just drawing dead.
Uh,
Actually, while I had a dilemma on the golf course today, and I want to know how you guys would have approached this. Okay.
okay.
So I had first tee time of the morning, 7 a.m. And now that round usually takes 2:15. Okay. I was told before I teed off, and I knew this, that there was a shotgun start at 9. Okay. Where I basically had to be done at 9 no matter what. I'm playing my round. I am done 16 holes. I get the message on the card that's like, time to come in. Okay. I stand on the 17th tee and I'm like, okay, I will just like play, like I'll play my way in. And they're still cutting the hole on 17. It's a par 3. I don't know how long it's going to take. I skipped 17, which is part 1. Would you have skipped? Would you have waited? But I don't like breaking the rules. When I was told to come in, I come in. I played 18. So I played 17 out of 18 holes. How would you deal with posting this score? Or could you just not post this score?
I would. So, hot take, just first rattle out of the box. Like I would just give myself a bogey. I'd give myself a 4 or a 5.
Okay.
I wouldn't give myself a par, but I wouldn't not post it because I don't play frequently enough to be like skipping posting scores.
Right. And I played almost all, and it's not like I chose, like I was not kind of forced off the golf course, but
I would honestly, I'd probably give myself a 5 and
Yeah.
feel great about it.
Yeah.
Was it a hole with water?
No, it's a very short par 3. It's like 125 yards.
I might feel great about a 4, but definitely a 5.
Okay. Patrick.
What's I think the chat's right. The net par, I believe technically that's what you're supposed to do.
What's the net par? So like if it's a handicap that if it's a hole that I would stroke on.
Yeah.
Otherwise I would take the bogey.
Yeah.
Is it a hole you play often?
Yeah.
Then I would like go last 5 rounds, add up those scores, and then take the average.
All right.
Depending on how.
That's actually pretty good.
I think you're right for skipping it though. I have a habit of zipping around the golf course just to find like open holes and play.
Yeah.
The other thing is like when you play early in the morning, you run into maintenance like very, very quickly. So I don't like standing on the tee, like waiting for, I don't want to apply pressure to this guy to get his work done faster because I'm trying to get so I was like, I'll just skip it. I played 18, part 18. Now I'm like, what do I do about this? So it was a sticky pickle.
The old sticky pickle. That's your favorite. By the way, this is kind of unrelated, but thinking about people playing open golf courses in the dark. I started Normal Sport 3 this week, and I was looking back at the Tiger Rory JT Spieth match.
Yeah.
Do you remember when? So they played a 1 club hole, which was the best part of the whole thing. But Spieth had a 3-footer that he was trying to putt with his 4-iron, and he tried to get Rory to give it to him, and Rory goes, "I've seen you miss those with a putter."
Yeah.
And I was like, I forgot about that. That was sick.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no like the commentary in those is not what everybody thinks it's going to be, but that one it's pretty good.
I like that a lot. Just to put a bow on that, I gave myself a bogey and posted the score.
Yeah, I would feel fantastic.
You can
Now,
rest easy tonight.
It was like a very average score. If I was like going to shoot my lowest score ever, I think I'd feel different. And if I was going to shoot like 100, I think I'd feel different. But it was like a very average score, and
Why would you feel different if you're going to shoot 100? Because you think it should be higher.
Yeah, it's like, well, if I'm going to take a 99, I might as well take 100.
Yeah.
Like, why am I shaving strokes on this round that's not going to count anyway?
But you also have the stroke, the handicap control thing where you can't make more than a net double.
Correct. Yeah, I thought about that too.
So you could have just put the X or whatever.
Yeah. Okay.
But I would feel fine.
I'm sure technically you're probably not even allowed to post it, right? There's a lot of rules like that.
Throw the golf rule book out.
Right.
That's my first off-season agenda item.
All right. Speaking of golf rules, we've done the pleasantries. We're gonna dive into the most complicated question that came from the chat. Or not from the chat. So we can do questions from the chat, but these are from the ratings and reviews, emails, Twitter, et cetera, et cetera. The first one, and I don't know who sent this, Josh, but it is a very long concept for the playoffs. I will digest it for you and give you the lowdown. It is essentially 3 events in the playoffs where there is group stage in the round of 72 and the round of 36. So basically like match play round robin, but being scored like the World Cup. So if you win your match, you get 3 points, you tie, you get 1, you lose, you get 0. And then that basically seeds you into the Tour Championship. There are ways that you can play yourself into this. But the Tour Championship ends with, God, Josh, seeds 11 through 18 playing an 18-hole stroke play event. What do you want me to do here? This looks like
the framework agreement.
Keep going. Problem. This is good podcasting.
Here's the problem. So I'll just stop us right now. Here's the problem with this suggestion. I'm happy to talk about Tour Championship and playoff suggestions and formats. The goal needs to be less confusing. Okay. The goal, we cannot get to this where 3 plays the next lowest, 6 plays the 4th lowest, 4 plays the 2nd lowest. There's an 18-hole stroke play match. There are ways that 29 and 36 can play their way in. This can't happen. I commend the effort and the time and the energy, and this is very well thought out, and I love it. That the idea we cannot get here.
I am very appreciative of this person for the 5-star review, for the time and the weight this must have, really bogged him down to have that weight lifted off his shoulders, to have this spoken to other people. I'm happy to be that soundboard. But I read 3 sentences and I was confused already.
Okay, so 2 things here. One, I need like a visual. This is like a SAT word problem. I can't have the word problem. Just show don't tell. And then 2, if what I'm getting in the end is a 4-man 18-hole stroke play for the Tour Championship winner, I can't have that either. Like that's not a good. If we're revamping the whole thing, that's not the outcome that I want. If you want to say match play, 4-man match play, okay, we can talk. But I can't have 4-man stroke play. That's not good.
I've come around on match play at the Tour Championship.
Yes, you have.
I don't love it, admittedly, but I have definitely softened my stance on it.
Well, it's unique, right? Like the PGA Tour, part of their problem is, we don't need to relitigate all this, but part of their problem is they want, or they think that they are, up there with the major championship organizations. And while it's true that they are one of the 5 biggest organizations, it's become clear over the last couple of years that they're the one that's the least valued by the players, the least anticipated. Guys like making money, but in terms of like the top guys, they care more about the US Open than anything on the PGA Tour. That's just the way it is. And so how do you differentiate yourself? How do you create some value and uniqueness in your tour? I don't know that I've been on several different podcasts talking about this with other people. They're in a bad spot from a scheduling perspective. We've talked about that, Rick. Like it just sucks. Like I feel for them from that standpoint, but it also gives you an opportunity to try something, because what you're doing is kind of like, it's fine. It's not amazing. So try something different. I think that's fine. And maybe it'll get criticized. Maybe it'll hit, but you don't know unless you try.
The other thing about match play that I keep coming back to is there is a desire, Patrick, for the guys who performed the best in the regular season to get some type of reward for that.
Yeah, I think John Rahm's been really big on that. He's been the main voice against this version of the Tour Championship, the staggered start, and this year obviously is only going to add fuel to that fire. I think he finished like 18th after the year he had. But I've actually grown to the idea of the current situation we have, because if I had to explain what the hell was just on the screen to my dad, he would think I'm the biggest idiot in the world. He probably already does.
It's a good litmus test for sure. The dad test.
Yeah. And to those people, I mean, Tour Championship had its like highest viewing since Tigers this year. It was a great tournament. It's very simplified now, where you have the scores right there. There's no election night leaderboard where Ohio's coming in at midnight.
Yeah, there's only 12. There's only 12% reporting. We got to
wait. Nevada is 1% in. It's already going blue somehow. I don't know how that works.
Yeah,
who can say? County, it's coming in.
So it's very simple for the target audience to tune in at 3:00 on Sunday, know exactly what's going on. And the casual fan is the majority of the fan. I love the ideas. I would love for match play to be involved somehow, but the way they have it, it's really easy to digest. And I think that's what they're going for.
Well, I think that's one of the problems for that the PGA Tour has never really figured out is who should they be catering to? Right. And I think the majors get a little bit lucky is the wrong word, but they are able to hit both parties, the dad group and the sicko group.
Yep.
And that's a massive advantage that the tour doesn't have built in. And it creates this problem of like, hey, who do we cater to? Because from a business standpoint, you're probably right, Patrick, at least in the short term, but in the long term, is it the wisest to kind of pander to not pander, but like build your business around like the which way the wind is blowing in the present age or whatever? I'm not saying that correctly, but you know what I mean.
It's rare. And this is the biggest problem with golf and specifically the PGA Tour. It's very rare for a sport to have at least two very different fan bases. And the one that might be the least interested is the one that has the more disposable income, right? Like look at the ads. The ads are for my dad. My dad naps through the coverage, right? Like those are the people that are being most taken care of are the ones that have the disposable income, are the ones that are not following it as closely. Like it's a very weird dynamic that not a lot of people have.
But if you do the math, it's probably a better short-term business decision to build your product for those people, right?
Yes, in the short term, absolutely.
And so I would actually push back that I think other sports probably have this issue as well. I don't know, maybe not. In what way do football is actually kind of like NFL is kind of like the majors, in that you get the casuals and the sickos, and for some reason, like I'd have to think more about it. You hit them both, and they're both like the guy with 9 fantasy teams and like my son who doesn't really know all the stuff. They're both like in, and it works. Yep.
Because there's only so many games and you can take whatever you want from it. You can take the fandom of the city that you play in or city you live in, right? Like you can just be in a city and that can be your team that you follow. That doesn't exist in golf. You've got stars and superstars. You've got the data fantasy nerds. It's just, you can take whatever you want out of it. It's the same product.
I think the scarcity is a meaningful part of this, and I've been beating that drum for years with the PGA Tour. Like all my friends are like, "Hey, when's is it a downtime for you with golf?" And it's like, no, never. I mean, the last 2 weeks, right? And it's just people are like, "Oh, when is there an event this week?" I'm like, "There's literally an event like 49 weeks of the year."
It's like, no, not here, but the Irish Open's going on.
Yeah. And so I just think that engenders such it doesn't tell the casual fan what you need to tell the casual fan, hey, this matters. And golf struggles with that. I don't know if that's necessarily a PGA Tour problem. And then with the sicko fan, it's like, man, I'm exhausted. And it's only September. We haven't even got to the Ryder Cup yet. I'm tired. And so that scarcity problem, I think, is a real issue. But it's what happens, Rick, whenever you have a member-run organization that wants to create as many playing opportunities as possible for its people. Correct. You're not catering to the fan, you're catering to the player. And that's a problem. That's a problem in the short term and the long term.
It's a problem. Let's move on. Russell in North Carolina says the fictional Ryder Cup is being played at Pinehurst number 2. The U.S. team consists of Rick, Kyle, Patrick, Greg, and Mark. Give us the lineup for each session. Patrick, this is easy. If I'm captain, I run out you and Greg in every single session.
Thank you. Yeah, I think I'm kind of like the Energizer bunny of the bunch, where I'll just go out, do whatever, electrify the crowd. I'm pumped we got Mark on the team doing a little Rory Sabatini-esque going on.
That is true.
And he's a huge get. We have a coach in the background, but I think I appreciate the vote of confidence in me, but Greg is really, I think, our horse.
I know who's not the horses, KP. You and I should stay very far away from these lineups.
Well, I think here's what I think should happen. I think Greg and Patrick should play foursomes, and then either you or I should play 4-ball with Mark. And the reason I'm saying that is because I think Mark can sort of just make a bunch of pars and like be super consistent. And you and I are going to make like 7s and 3s. And that's kind of what you want in 4-ball.
Having you and Mark run out there would be like putting Tiger and Phil together, right? the possible tension if things go
The
wrong.
Lee Hodges discourse.
Yeah,
tearing
right.
you guys at the
You might get lost. There might be some infighting. There might be, who knows what's going to happen.
Can you imagine the first time I blade one off the TV tower over the back of the green? I can't do a Mark impression, but he would be just furious.
What's the strokes gained on that shot, Kyle?
Yeah, he would be all over it. He's like, you know what they can't measure?
Yeah. Right here.
But I love.
How tight is your sphincter right now?
Yeah. Thanks. I'm on your team. I love the Patrick and Greg foursomes. I think they would crush. I think they'd be so good together.
Yeah. Speaking of Ryder Cup-esque questions, this is pretty interesting. Carson says, what do you think the longest putt the Euros are going to concede to Scotty Scheffler is in Rome? Which is got to be a conversation that they're having in the team room. What's safe? 18 inches? I don't know. I just saw him miss one of those. What is safe for concession to Scotty in the Ryder Cup?
Is he in the Zalatoris zone, Patrick?
The Zalatoris zone. That's got to be like the new Mendoza line.
Yeah.
I mean, this is assuming like they're not out of the hole and they tell them to pick up type of deal. This is everyone's still in the hole. I think it's probably under 36 inches.
Yeah. I was going to say even like
30.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. I'd agree with that. I'd put the over under at 30.5 inches.
Do you give him everything for the first 9, and then the first time he stands over a 2.5 footer is to keep the match all square on 12?
I think one. So I did the No Lineup podcast this week, and Tron was talking about how he's like, he said something like, I think this Ryder Cup, there's an opportunity for this Ryder Cup to break Scheffler, like just to like demoralize him. And I mean, this Scheffler's, he's an unbelievable player, obviously major champion. Like he's awesome. I do think that I don't know if this Ryder Cup could break him. I do think there's an opportunity for him to get incredibly irritated by what takes place, whether that's something that the fans do, not getting a putt, missing a putt. Like he's kind of, I remember I was at the PGA last year after he won Augusta, and he was pretty irritable. And he's not like that as a person, but I think he's so competitive that he gets like that on the golf course. And I'm curious to see how he responds to that, because in 2021, he was the 12th man. He was paired with Bryson, who was talking about having a brass chest, and like there was a lot going on there that was like outside of Scheffler. This time he's the number one player in the world. He's kind of the guy. And how do you respond to that when, you know, things are kind of frustrating for you on the course? I think that's a really interesting storyline going in.
Isn't it crazy that one of the potential outcomes is the number one player in the world like snaps and just breaks, and we're that's terrifying.
He's kind of done it before. I think it was Memphis last year where he was like slapping his putter repeatedly. Yes. And yeah, if you give the European fans any smell of that frustration, it's just gonna snowball into more and more and more. So actually, I mean, the take by Tron, I think, is pretty spot on. Where it could go one of two ways, though. If he makes some putts under this, maybe it lights a fire under him for 2024, and we get the wins that should have came this year. On the other end, it could just mentally ruin him.
Well, I think there's a real opportunity, Patrick, for this to start going the wrong way for the Americans. You think about Scheffler, you think about JT. If it's like bad early and he's mad or pouting, or I mean, the European fans are going to be all over him, right? And there's some scenarios in which on like Friday night, things are not looking great for the U.S.
I will say the one good thing is like Scheffler is still just going to ball strike the crap out of it.
Yeah.
So those missed birdie putts and foursomes, okay, you can get by with those.
But that's I agree. He's the number one player, like whatever. But he will inherently, no matter what happens, have a smaller sample to contribute in.
Yeah.
So when he gets to play 72 holes, there is very little reason why he does not end up in the top 5 or top 10, as he proved all year long. But when these matches are, what if they're 15 or 16 holes? What if he hits half the shots? It's just, there's not as much opportunity for him to separate himself in a smaller sample size. And that goes for everybody, but that's kind of the issue with the way he plays.
And he did that a bunch. He did that at Memorial this year where he barely made the cut and then he finished third.
Right.
So he'll have these kind of weird, I don't know if he did it a bunch. He did it a couple of times.
And if he does that, the Ryder Cup, he's like 0-2.
Yeah.
And then maybe then he gets to 2-2 or whatever, but that's possible.
Maybe. But it's also good. I mean, we talked about how when you're frustrated with your putting or it's in your head, it puts so much more pressure on your, like, especially in something like that, where you're like, I got to hit it to like 3 feet to win this hole. And then that can go bad. There's just, when one thing's not working, it affects all of your game. And I would say maybe even more so in a match play, team play environment.
To counter that point, winner, semifinalist the last 2 years at the match play. So he knows how to turn it on for 18 when he has to. But he also, I think he's talked about it in majors where he realizes a bogey on a par 5 on Thursday, he's fine.
Yeah.
He understands bogey on a par 5 in an 18-hole match, he's probably not fine. And he has to put it into overdrive. So I'm really not too concerned about that.
Okay. We're going to continue this conversation. We've got some more questions with some fun stuff coming. But first, we're going to take a quick break and hear a word from our partners.
Here we go. This is all we all been waiting for. Time for some football, baby. Plowing ahead for the touchdown. Oh my gosh, here he goes.
We can't wait for Sunday afternoons.
And we're back. Alex wants to know about our games, the best and worst parts of our individual golf games. Patrick, what's the best part of your game?
Probably off the tee. I'm probably last time I was on a system of some sort was like 2.5 years ago, but pumping out there carry like 290, pretty accurate. And then I cannot read greens to save my life. Like, I have no idea. I think I have a good putting stroke. Like, I feel super confident. I always hit it where I want to, but I'm just like 5 feet offline.
Have you considered aim point?
I ain't doing that. I don't really read them either. I kind of just look around, look at everyone else's putts, and then I just go.
Yes. Did you see the Claire Rogers tweet about this? When when he got booked, the meme, and she said, "When I pretend like I'm reading greens, but I'm really just waiting to putt."
Yeah,
that was perfect. That's exactly what you do.
Pretty much. Sometimes I don't even pretend to read them though, and that's probably the problem.
I always look around like, oh, there's a bunker over here. I'm like, okay, that might impact this, right?
Sure.
And just like whatever it takes. Nowhere near the line my ball's on, but I'm taking it in. I'll find something.
I've got many weaknesses. I don't even know where to start.
Well,
I can't hit.
Patrick could drive for you. That'd be great.
I took driver out of the bag. Don't need it. Can't hit it. My course management is garbage. It's atrocious. My chipping is, if I have I'm like a homeless man's Victor. Like, if I have a tight lie, forget about it. Just I'll putt it from 90 yards. I don't know if I have a strength. I guess long iron play, because I hit long iron. I hit like 3-iron off the tee now, and I can get it out there. When my 3 and 4 iron are like working, I can play, like I can get around. But I need a lot of work.
I have a naturally like descending path, which is why I can't hit driver, but I can hit my irons. Okay. I can hit those pretty well. I cannot chip. I've got no shot. I've got 0 shots. I have a 60 degree in my bag. That is it's brand new. I don't know. I don't know when
you got it 4 years ago. It's still brand new.
I just use my 56 everywhere, because I'm like, well, if I should just try to figure out one club, I am 2 grooves low on every single chip. It's horrendous.
So we played together in New York this year.
Our hotel had a 9-hole golf course around it.
Yeah, it was great. So here's what I noticed, if I'm remembering correctly. Your swing is good and the tempo is good. I think your tempo on chips is not good. Like, it's decel, XL, like there's a lot of cells going on.
Yeah. There's a lot. The world spins so fast when I'm greenside.
Yeah. So, but that seems like it's not none of these are easy problems to fix, but it seems fixable.
It should be. It's such a small swing. Like, why can't I get the club from here to here?
But this is how I felt about like, I would play flag football or just anything in college and be like, oh, you want me to throw a 30-yard out? I'll throw that all day. I can't throw like a 5-yard comeback. Like, I have no touch. Like, I throw it like 100 miles an hour and like try to take somebody's head off, and it's like, well, that's not going to work. So there's no tempo, no rhythm. That's how I feel around the greens too.
All right, we gotta get some work in. Kyle M, the mysterious Kyle M, submitted a question.
Ooh.
Yeah, he said, he wants to know what we think the coolest names doesn't even matter if the golf course is good or not. Coolest names of golf courses. He listed a couple to tantalize us. Valhalla, he likes the Copperhead course, and the now do they pronounce this the Real Club Valderrama? They can't.
Valderrama's cool. I like Valderrama. First one that came to mind for me is Pasatiempo.
I did not think of that.
It's a good one.
I went and I said, there is nothing that makes the hair stand up on my arm more than the country club. If you are the country club, you've done it, right? Like you don't even have to differentiate. We're the only one, right? Like it's us. I that gets my juices flowing in a big way.
I like that.
Pretty cool. What about Mystic Rock at Nemacolin, the Lumber 84? Remember
Sure.
that tournament?
Yeah.
How about it?
Mystic Rock's pretty good.
I think DJ won that one year.
Sure. Maybe John Daly too.
DJ also won at Turning Stone. You know,
That's what I was thinking of.
Okay. I was wondering if you were thinking about that. You know what I don't like? The two courses on site and they're just directional. North, south, east, west.
Yeah, have some creativity.
Give me something, right? So Torrey Pines, right? North course, south course. Like, come on.
Yeah.
We could not come up with
At least Ocean Course and
the Pine course.
you know who does that? You know who does that well is Bandon. They've named all their courses very well. They've done a lot of things well. But
Yeah. I mean, Kapaloo's got two courses, Plantation and the Bay course. You can't just direct. It's lazy. It's boring. It's confusing.
I'm trying to think of other
Sleepy Hollow.
Sleepy Hollow is a great
Mid-Am.
one.
I am looking through like a list though, so don't.
9 Bridges isn't that bad, and it has meaning. There's 9 bridges.
So that's the thing. It should really connect to the land. So the 9 bridges is great because it's obviously the 9 bridges. That's a good one.
I kind of like some of the European ones, like Royal Portrush or Royal County Down. Stuff like that is very cool.
What do you think the most common? There was a maybe it was Shane Bacon, maybe Shane Ryan tweeted this out at one point. What's the most, or maybe it was Lou Stagner. Somebody on Twitter said, what do you think the most common golf course name is?
Oof.
I have one submission.
Most common golf course name?
I mean, there's probably like a lot of like Pine,
Like Pine something?
yeah, something like that.
Pine Creek.
Yeah,
Hitting Creek.
Were you gonna say Lake something?
No, mine is Springfield Country Club.
Okay.
Because there's what, like 40 Springfields in the country?
Yeah, that's a good one.
David in the chat says Twin Oaks. Yeah, like something like that.
Twin Lakes.
Yeah.
You know what I've never liked is this is heretical amongst the architects of the group, but I've never liked the National Golf Links name.
Oh no.
It sounds generic.
Sounds like
it's
name.
It's like a top 5 course in the country, but it sounds as if it sounds like one of those like the tribute. There's a tribute here in Dallas, and it's like, oh, we've got 18 holes from the best course, and you're like,
yeah,
I don't think that's 12 at Augusta. I mean, it doesn't even. It's not even really close.
That's pretty. Yeah, that's good. There was one other I wanted to throw out there, but I cannot remember.
I like Winged Foot.
And great logo. What's the Jordan course? Grove 23.
It looks like a cheetah or a leopard,
and he uses like the Roman numerals too.
Yeah, it's pretty sick.
Panther. What's JT working on? Panther National.
Yeah.
That'll be pretty.
I think the LACC logo is up there. Friar's Head as a name is very good. Just kind of going down the list.
I like Shinnecock's logo too.
Yeah. The Northeast, like old Northeast courses, have a lot of great.
Yeah. Fisher's Island's a very good logo. Riviera is an underrated logo because it's got the hidden flag in the middle of the R.
Mm-hmm.
Very, very cool.
Josh from Twitter. This is specifically for you, Patrick.
Oh
God.
He wants to know if you have devised an off-season plan or a new strategy for the one and done, and if you think that you can go last to first.
That's a good question. I guess on the horizon was some sort of vision quest here in the winter, but I did just see what happened out there in the desert by you, Rick, technically, with Burning Man. Thoughts and prayers to all those people. Poor souls.
Yeah.
Hopefully no one's still out there. Such a shame. Such a shame.
Hate to see it.
Really, you got diarrhea plane in the air, and then you got that on the ground. It's coming from all directions, literally and figuratively. But so the vision quest out there in the Western Desert was probably the play. I don't know if it's still on the table, but yeah, we're just gonna probably fight through our losses in this NFL season, chase some losses, which is typically what you want to do, and get back to it come January 1. I'm not concerned at all. I'm not concerned.
This one, David in the chat has a good one here. What is your biggest golf flex? Could be the best course you've played, the coolest person you've played with. I don't know if some of these are divulgeable. KP, you've played the course.
Yeah, that's mine. ANGC 95.
Heard of it?
Parred like 4 of my last 5. Tried to play 18 more. They wouldn't let me. I did try, but they wouldn't have let me.
I played Oakmont a few summers ago. Opened with a birdie. Proceeded to
first hole is hard.
Shank my tee shot on 2. Make a 7 shot 76.
So have you played with anybody cool that you're willing to tell us?
That's a flex, Patrick.
Like cool adjacent people who, like when I did play Oakmont, I played with this guy who was probably in the Greek mafia, and he was texting Brandel Chambly the entire time.
The Greek mafia, was it Giannis?
No, this guy, his job, this could be
careful now.
Yeah, we should move on.
He did a lot of things for famous people. He had a good Rolodex, I would say.
He did a lot of that could mean anything. I played with Ricky in a pro-am. That was fun.
I'm trying to think courses. I got on Shadow Creek and didn't pay a dime for it, which was awesome.
Been a lot of dimes.
Yeah, it would have been. I think one of the bigger flexes is when we get inside the ropes. People love that. Like when you tell people that, and like you get to see stuff like that's sick. I think that's generally awesome.
And like the sort of version of that is like when you go to a local event and you see people that see you, they're like, oh, because people don't really know. Like I'm not telling all my friends like how my job works and whatever. But if people that see you at the tournament and you're like walking with Spieth or Scheffler, it's like, oh, that's different. That's kind of a.
I felt like I was flexing when we were in Phoenix and with Rory's Pro-Am group, and Larry Fitzgerald was in that group, and I ignored Larry Fitzgerald because I didn't want to be like I wanted him to know that I was like ignoring him because you know what I mean?
You flexed on Larry Fitzgerald.
Yeah, like I don't need to say what's up to him. I'm just gonna chill over here.
Sure.
Like I don't need to chat with him.
Yeah,
I will say
I'm good, Larry.
The first event I ever covered was the 21 BMW at Caves Valley, and it was disgustingly hot that week in Baltimore. Like 105 feels like 110. And I was just like handing water out to spectators from the buckets, and I felt like I was like the Red Cross or something. That was kind of my flex. People were like crying when I gave them water bottles. This
started it might have started at Brookline last year, but there's been a lot more events recently where they just give you free water, where it's like sponsored by Aquafina or Dasani or whatever, and every water station on the ground, like concessions, is free. That's how you get me to be your customer. Like that is so handy for everybody involved. It's the greatest thing I've ever seen at a golf tournament.
Yes.
Last one here. I think this.
I've got one last flex if y'all want it. I put on one of the robes in the champions locker room at Augusta National.
Wow. What now? For people who don't know, myself included, what do you mean a robe?
Well, if you win the, I'm not supposed to be saying this, but it's not like people have written about it before, but your locker is in the champions locker room,
right?
So I had I can't remember I think Arnold Palmer's locker or something.
Easy to forget.
No, it wasn't that. I wouldn't have forgotten that. But they have robes in the bathroom, so you can take a shower, throw a robe on.
Is it green?
It's not. It's white. But you know that Phil has worn all of them at one point.
Yeah, of
the
course.
champions dinners probably.
Yeah, exactly. So that's
pretty interesting.
It's a flex.
I didn't know that existed.
Kyle, what is the water pressure situation in the showers there? Pretty good. 10 out of 10.
Yes, but I think this is such a hard question because everything you say sounds ridiculous. You sound like such a D-bag. I think the best water pressure was Winged Foot.
Okay.
Completely normal. Completely normal sentence.
Noted. Got to keep those rankings somewhere.
Well, I think the best water pressure was at Winged Foot.
That was Mark.
I always slip into Mark every now and then. Last one. Do you believe Live Golf and the subsequent PGA merger, alleged, were a direct result of the popularity golf gained for being the first sport back after the COVID shutdown, or in all likelihood, would it have happened anyway? I lean it would have happened anyway, because golf's not the only sport that Saudi Arabia has tried to get involved in or has since been trying to get involved in. Right?
I agree. I think it would have happened no matter what, but I do like the potential of tying China into this just to make it more fun for everyone.
Perfect. Yeah. The China PGA Tour, Saudi Arabia love triangle.
I've been wanting more Josh Hawley in my life.
Yes.
September 13th, Kyle.
I think it's interesting, Rick, because what you just said about how they've gotten into other sports, if you think about it, they've really only done non-American centric, I'm not saying that the right way, but sports that are primarily played outside of America, right? They haven't gone after American football. They haven't gone after basketball, baseball, but they have gone after soccer. They have gone after golf. They are going after tennis. And so it's just, is it like a matter of time before they enter into those others, or are they staying more on the kind of global spectrum?
What's their involvement in F1? I know there's a race there,
F1,
and I know
yeah.
they're a big sponsor, but is there like an ownership stake in the same way that they're trying to get involved in golf and other sports? I don't know. I don't know what the relationship is in F1, but I know it's like something.
I think they tried to. I'm going to get this wrong. I think they have ownership in a team or multiple teams. Okay. So I don't know. I don't believe they have equity in the entirety of the league in the same way they're sort of trying to do with golf.
It looks like they might have had a stake. This headline from Sports Business Journal says the
McLaren.
Is they're in the process of selling their stake in McLaren.
Okay. Yeah, that's what I remember. But I also think that there was some talk about, and this might have been just rumor, like them buying F1 for like $30 billion or something just preposterous. Like just owning the whole league, essentially.
Yeah, $20 billion. They tried.
Was it 20?
Doesn't seem like enough, does it?
The Athletic.
I agree.
Report to buy was speculation.
Yeah.
Oh, I got it right here. Yeah. Saudi Arabia explored, this is from Bloomberg, explored bid to buy F1 for over $20 billion.
Yeah.
Doesn't sound like enough.
I went down this rabbit hole. Yeah. Like, I think it was earlier this year, and it was like, this is crazy.
There was one more thing I wanted to say about that. Did you see LeBron James was in Saudi Arabia?
Mm-mm.
He was who knows what he's doing. Maybe looking for some funding for his Las Vegas franchise.
Ironheads?
Maybe. You never know.
What's his loss? Is he going to own a basketball team in Las Vegas?
Well, I think that he has expressed a lot of interest in owning an NBA team eventually at some point. And then, obviously, and then I think he wants it to be a new franchise in Vegas, right? The NBA has been, they've been trying to get to Vegas longer than any other sport. I think there is likely a Western expansion where you add Seattle back in, you add Vegas in, you move Memphis to the east, boom, you're up to 32 teams or 34 teams, whatever that is. And I think the working theory is that LeBron wants to own that Vegas team.
He's crazy because he's really set himself up for post-career multi-billionaire status and also been like the best player in the world for 17 straight years. I don't, you have to have good people around you to do both of those things, but it's extraordinary for him to have accomplished, because, you think about even in golf, like guys that have had a lot of success post-playing career, you're not really, maybe Arnold Palmer set up a lot of that before, but it's a rare thing in sports, and he's done a really good job of it.
To imagine that he came into the league with so much hype and expectation and then flat surpassed all of it is crazy.
It's Tiger.
Paul says Vegas is not big enough for 4 franchises. It is. Spoiler alert. And growing every day.
Baseball, Raiders, A's, Raiders,
Golden
hockey, and basketball.
Yeah.
They already got WNBA out there, right?
Yep. They've got the Aces. They already have a minor league baseball team that outdraws the A's. So
part one. We have a high school team that might outdraw the A's. How many people live there, Rick?
I don't know. Let's find out. Las Vegas population 650,000 and rising.
It's weird, right? Because that's small, but Vegas is not a small city because it's like in terms of how many people visit it every year. It's probably there's at any given moment there's probably at least 1 million people in the city. Yeah, probably. Yeah.
More than that.
Yeah. Probably more. Yeah.
Yeah. And the setup is, for these franchises, a lot of these tickets are going to be bought up by casinos to be used for comps and all this other stuff. Like, you don't necessarily need 20,000 season ticket holders sitting there like ready to buy your tickets. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that makes sense. How are they still doing the construction for F1?
Dude, yeah, they shut down the strip the other day, and everybody's all upset about it. And because they got to repave like the whole thing in advance, and it's crazy.
I might be there for that, Rick.
Are you going to see for the race or just like at the same time?
I gotta tell you offline. I can't tell you on here, but real quick, pull up Renata. Producer Josh, can you pull up Renata B's question at 4:58? He says, what to do about golf's putting problem as highlighted by Scotty Scheffler in 2023. Almost half of golf strokes are putts, and tournaments are decided on a skill more like bowling than ball striking. So I don't know where I heard this. It might have been from you, Rick, but putting, like every stroke on the green should just count as a half a stroke.
I think you told me that. So you heard it from somewhere else. You told me that.
Yeah, maybe I did. It'd be sick.
We talked about it. Yeah. So what you're saying is the idea would be you hit the fairway, you hit the green, 2 putts. That is no longer a 4. That is a 3.
Yeah.
But what does that solve?
Well, it rewards hitting greens.
Does that need to be more rewarded?
Well, we're just making stuff up. I don't know that it needs to be more rewarded, but if you pound greens, like think about like hitting a green on a par 5, all of a sudden, instead of you're rewarded disproportionately for being able to reach a par 5 and 2, because now you can 3-putt and you make a 3.5 instead of a 5.
The other thing to consider is like technically, because this gets said a lot on like swing tip videos or golf, like oh, half of your shots are with your putter or whatever. And while that's, I guess, true, not half, but whatever.
Maybe
that's really not how you separate yourself, though. Like you are separating yourself more statistically from your opponent's ball striking because you're all taking a larger percentage of putts. Do you get what I'm saying?
Say that again. What was the last thing you said?
If you're taking, if 30% of your shots are putts, but 28% of my shots are putts, like I'm not separating myself that much from you there, even though we're all taking a large percentage of our total shots are with our putter. The way that I separate myself is how quickly I get to use my putter. That's what the stats show. So while
for sure. This would be like taking it beyond. Like I actually think that ball striking is appropriately rewarded now. This would be almost like rewarding it too much, probably. Right?
Yeah, Denny McCarthy would be filing a grievance.
Yeah, I mean, Scotty Scheffler lost like 8 strokes and lost by one tournament.
I was looking back. I think we talked about this, but Vijay Singh won 9 times in 2004, and he was a negative putter. 9 times. He won 3 tournaments in which he was a negative putter in the tournament.
Say that again?
He won 3 different tournaments in 2004 in which he was negative strokes gained putting for the tournament. Which has happened like 3 times in the last 2 years by anybody. Yeah, it's only happened like 15 times in the last 20 years, and he was 3 of them that year. That's insane. You got to go look up Vijay Singh 2004 strokes gained. It's a joke. It's like the hyper version of Scheffler's season this year. I want to make a correction. I gave you the population numbers for just the city of Las Vegas, but like Henderson's different, right? So the Las Vegas Metro, the Valley is like 2.3 million people. Okay. Yeah, it's much bigger. You guys want to touch this one? What is your honest opinion of the CBS weekly broadcasts? Matthew says nothing personal, but it is excruciatingly bad. And he wants us on there. He wants us on there? Yeah. You don't want me on there. Trust me. It's hard. I think that golf in general is a bad viewing experience. And not because it is I think it's also the most difficult to broadcast, right? It's all over the place. It lasts forever. But I do think that the fandom is underserviced and is asked to do things that no other sport would be asked to do, like flip channels, come in late. It is not unique to CBS. It is not unique to NBC. The broadcasts in general are, in my opinion, leaving a lot for improvement. You know what a good broadcast is, Rick? What's that? The world feed. The world feed is the GOAT. So the world feed, which does it only run on majors? No, I guess there's got to be a world feed at all times, right? I don't know. I want more information. I couldn't get enough during the Open. I think it was the first, or I don't know how much access we've had to the world feed, but it's the problem is, and this was something that I was talking to, like, a bunch of people from other countries were DMing me and saying like, oh, I get the world feed. There's only one commercial an hour, just absurd stuff, just preposterous stuff. But if that's true, then the business model doesn't work. It's subsidized elsewhere. So how is it subsidized? I don't know. That probably varies from country to country. So I think you have to take that into account and say, oh, well, this could be better. Well, yeah, maybe, but that money has it has to come from somewhere. And so I don't know. I would love to talk to somebody who is a unbiased person in that industry and say like, hey, what's a reasonable solution to all of this if everybody was able to kind of work together on it? Because I think there is a solution to making the whole product better. Again, it's not a CBS specific thing, but I don't have enough knowledge to know exactly what that solution is.
The world feed is like there's just no commercials ever, and they show sometimes with a commentator, sometimes not, sometimes I mean because they also show the world feed in like the press center. So like when you're in the media,
yeah,
in like for the US Open, and it just never goes to commercial, or when it goes to commercial, they put up a leaderboard or whatever. Like it's just I don't know who controls it, but I need it.
I think it's I don't know who the brains is behind that operation. But to answer Matt's question, I think CBS Sports did a stellar job this year. We had the FedEx Cup playoffs. Oh my goodness. Did you guys watch that back nine at Eastlake? Commercial free. The entire
I actually did not watch it, Patrick. I was riding Hovland so that we could get done early.
Okay.
I watched very little of it. Can I shout out? I just hung you out. I just threw one over the middle right there. I would love to shout out one of my favorite broadcasting just tidbits throughout the year is SVP and David Duval at the PGA Championship.
Yes.
They just kind of cook early, and I can't remember. They're definitely on early on the weekend, and I think all 4 days they're on like in the early coverage. They're phenomenal. Like SVP makes something that is very, 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 very difficult look really simple and easy.
What does he do, Kyle? What does he do?
He speaks the language. He talks like we talk about golf. He talks like you talk about golf with your friends, right? And he professionalizes it, which that's impossible to do. And he's like one of the only people that can do it.
He doesn't try too hard. If there's nothing to say, he doesn't say it. When there's something to say, he speaks the language. I agree. It is a very good presentation.
Yeah. And Duval's great. Trevor Immelman does this too. He'll say, that was a bad shot.
Yes.
And you're like, oh, okay.
What I've noticed about Trevor is he will say before the shot is hit, I don't like this. Or like, I don't like what he's trying. Usually it comes after the guy hits it in the water that someone says, oh, I didn't like that play.
Sure. It's
a lot harder to go on the record before he hits it, whether you like the decision or not.
But that's the way to determine things, right? We have I was hollering about this about the Ryder Cup. We have such outcome bias of like, oh yeah, of course you didn't like it when it landed in the middle of the lake, but make the call, before that happens. Of course you don't like JT when he goes 0-4 in Rome. Make the call right now.
Right. Okay. Final thoughts? Football tonight. Who wins, Patrick? Chiefs.
Oh man, are we betting? Kelsey's out. I'm gonna take the Lions to win outright.
I think it was 4.5 or 5.5.
Yeah, I think it got down to 4.5.
So I will tell you right now, it is NFL.
Oh, it's in Kansas City though, right?
Yeah. All right. Oh, -4.
Oh, I'm back on Kansas City.
Chiefs -4. They're -205 on the money line. The over/under is 53.
Wow.
I like Chiefs. Chiefs -4.
Yeah, the Lions are the team. Are the Lions? I'm not gonna say that. Are the Lions the team that everyone like just expects to be good? That's like they're not gonna be that good. Like, what's this love for the Lions?
Jared Goff, Dan Campbell.
Oh, Jared Goff.
Jared Goff
does NFL quarterback. Jared
Amon-Ra St. Brown.
You're a football guy now, Rick. You break it down for us.
10 days a year. This is it. No, I got to go back once the field tomorrow at 5 when the field gets announced for the Fortinet. I'm no longer a football guy.
Jared Goff is whatever. Like is he good? I don't think he's that good.
No, he's an average NFL quarterback, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, they finished really strong last year, but I agree with you. I think it's all smokes and mirrors. The real team Smoking mirror. The real team to watch out for are the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Yeah, I knew you'd come back to that. They're dogs. They're dogs at home against the Niners.
Niners are good.
That's a money line play.
Is
We're
Brock
really
Purdy
going to buy
still
into
playing?
Brock Purdy? Yeah, like, come on.
No, I'm out on Brock Purdy. I watched him for 4 years at Iowa State. He's fine.
There is a sports. Actually, I guess I can say this. DraftKings has every single game for the whole year. The lines are out. The Niners on December 31st are -7 against the Rams. How? What? Somebody's got to be crushing these lines.
Right.
Phil.
Okay, so I'm listening to that book. Okay, here's a tip: if you're gonna read The Gambler, if you want to read that book by Billy Walters, you should read it. Don't listen to it. He narrates it, which voice acting is a skill. That's a talent. It's not against. I'm nothing against Billy Walters, but it's a tough listen.
Just because he can he like not read or what?
First off, he whistles his S's. And then also, I mean, he's like old, so he kind of like slurs a little bit. He's got like real wet mouth. And also, you can tell when they had to re-record lines. So like the audio levels will change like from one sentence to another. Like he came back the next day, he was a lot more energetic or whatever. It's a tough listen. Voice acting is a skill, and they should have hired a professional.
Noted.
But I'm like committed to it now. So
okay.
Yeah, I my fear with the book is like the Ryder Cup thing was the nugget, and all the other stuff you're kind of like, yeah.
There's some interesting stuff about just how big the operation became and how things that they did that were interesting, but there's nothing super revolutionary in it.
The Ryder Cup thing's insane.
Yeah.
I mean, people are like, oh, well, it's only like $100 shit. Like, I don't care what the value of it doesn't matter to me. It's the bravado of somebody like Phil thinking that he could just like bet on the Ryder Cup and nothing would happen. Like that is sociopathic.
I've never heard anybody ask, well, how much did Pete Rose bet? Right.
Yeah.
I've never heard anyone ask that. It's just the fact that he did.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, it's wild.
Pleasure, gents. We'll be back. So next week is a more standard fall week. So I believe, Josh, correct me if I'm wrong. Monday DFS, Tuesday mega preview, Sunday recap for the fall is my understanding. If that changes, we will let you know. Thank you for the questions, the comments, and the concerns. Producer Josh does all the hard work behind the scenes. Patrick McDonald, available on Twitter at Amateur Status. You can find Kyle Porter at Kyle Porter CBS, and you can find me at Rick Run Good. This has been The First Cut. We'll catch you next time.